Hello, my name is Charles Lipinskis from the Chester Community Law Project. Welcome to another video in partnership with the Cheshire and Warrington Business Growth Programme based around taking on employees. As an employer, you have to be certain that you can afford to have an employee. You have to pay your employee a basic minimum wage, which is determined by their age and often changes, usually going upwards. Link 1 below does identify what the current minimum wage is for different aged individuals. You have to be prepared for your employees to take holidays. It's quite likely that your employees will be entitled to paid leave, and where this is the case, you've got to be in a position to pay them whilst they're not in the workplace performing their duties. National insurance. So you're obligated to pay towards your employees' national insurance. There's a lot of different factors involved when calculating your national insurance, but you must contribute. Link 2 below provides a detailed explanation of what this is and how you go about doing it. Statutory sick pay. As an employer, you'll be required to pay eligible employees statutory sick pay if they're off for more than 4 days. So you need to be in a position to cover those costs without your employees being able to work. An employee is generally eligible if they've got an employment contract and have worked under that employment contract. They've been unable to work for 4 days or more. They've earned an average of over £120 per week, and they've provided you with the correct notice of their absence. So this is quite a complex topic. There is more information again in link 3 below. As well, you're obligated to provide pensions for your employees. I'll discuss this a little further in a section purely based on pensions, just to it'll make a lot more sense that way. Finally, maternity and paternity, adoption leave and shared parental leave. So your employees, obviously, if they have a child, are entitled to leave, which you'll have to pay for whilst they're not in work. Again, I will go through this further later in this presentation. Also, there is a separate video purely based around the different types of leave an individual can take to look after their children. As an employer, it's your job to ensure that your workplace is both safe and fair. So there's a few points on this slide that I'm going to go through one by one. You must prevent discrimination. There's 9 characteristics of discrimination set out by law, indicated on the screen there. An example being it's your responsibility to ensure that people doing the same work with the same experience are paid equally. Another example is that the working conditions of your workplace cannot disadvantage one group over another. Link 5 below is going to put a lot more detail around this topic, and you should look at it because it is a very important area. Reasonable adjustments is next. So if an employee or prospective employee is disabled or has health conditions, you must make reasonable adjustments to ensure that they can attend an interview and afterwards work in your workplace. So reasonable adjustments is a broad term, and links 6 and 7 do cover this area in a lot more detail. Just for an example, it can range from installing a ramp for an individual in a wheelchair to enter a building, right the way through to an individual with learning difficulties being able to sit an exam on a computer as opposed to a written exam. Next, we've got data protection. So there is comprehensive laws in the UK that cover data protection, and it's your job to ensure that your employees' details and data are secure. Again, more information in links 8 and 9. So fire and health safety is the next point, and it is another very important area. It's your job to ensure that you have the correct provisions in place to ensure fire safety and health and safety regulations are met. These are covered by the Regulatory Reform for Fire Safety Order 2005 and the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. So links 10, 11 and 12 below will detail this a lot further. You should look at it because it is a very important area. Outside of that, all of these points are usually covered in the workplace by policies, and we will upload separate videos on how to create policies covering these areas for you. To become an employer, you do have to register as one. You do this through the HMRC and you have to set up a PAYE account for your business. If your business is a limited company, you can register online. Otherwise, you're going to have to register by phone or post. You will also need to work out how you're going to run your payroll. So you can do this externally by hiring an accountant or use a bureau. Or you can run your payroll yourself. To do this, you have to set up your PAYE account, which you will have done anyway. You also have to choose a PAYE system and decide how you're going to make the deductions to ensure both tax and national insurance are paid. I have put more information in a link below. See the comment section for the HMRC registration link. This takes you to the place you need to be so that you can register as part of the HMRC. This is important as if you're a limited company, you pay your corporation tax through them. As you're looking at employing an employee, you'll actually operate your PAYE through them as well. Once you've hit an annual turnover of currently £85,000, but it is subject to change, usually upwards, at the end of each tax year, you will also charge VAT on the products or services you provide, and that is again through the HMRC. As an employer, you may be responsible for putting certain employees into a workplace pension scheme, and then you have to pay a minimum of 5% of your employee's wage into that pension scheme. These figures are subject to change, so information will be provided below in link 13. You'll be able to establish what the current figures are. Momentarily, you have to pay into your employee's pension scheme if they're aged between 22 and upwards, and they're currently earning £833 or more every month. As I said, more details are in link 13. It is absolutely imperative that you have liability insurance. Failing to be properly insured can result in substantial fines. You should display your certificate in the workplace, so upon inspection, the individual carrying out the inspection is able to see it. Failure to comply can result in further fines. Your policy is in place to help you in the event that your employee is injured or becomes ill as a result of undergoing the work for you. The policy must cover at least £5 million and be from an authorised insurer. You can contact the Financial Conduct Authority for further information on this. Also, link 14 below is a link straight to the Financial Conduct Authority's website, which details absolutely everything you need to know about liability insurance. Now that you've followed all of the steps that I've already mentioned in this video, you are ready to recruit staff. Now, Acas is a fantastic free service which provides you with templates of the important documents that you need to ensure that you are employing people correctly. Below, as always, I have included a link straight to the Acas website where you can access those forms. In the slides which follow, I'm going to pick out the most important documents that you will need and just talk you through them so you know what they are, what they're for, and why they're important to you. This here is a recruitment checklist. I have gotten it from the Acas website, and a link is provided below where you can access this too. The point of this document is so you can establish a plan of why you need an employee, where are they going to work and what are they going to do. Will they be packing boxes or will they be a delivery driver? It's also going to detail the things that you need to do. So have you done all your compliance forms? When are you going to do your interviews? How are you going to advertise for the job? Are you going to make a application pack to send out to prospective employees? So it is a very important document to use to ensure that you are as organised as you can be. This form, similarly to the last, I've taken from the Acas website, again linked below. This is for the job description. It's quite likely that you've read through one of these yourself. If you haven't, this is a fantastic way to ensure that the people that you're interviewing are right for your business. At the end of the day, time is money. So if you're interviewing people that aren't suitable for the role or the role isn't suitable for them, it's only going to cost you more in the long run, so you want to get it right first time. In this form, you will detail the main purposes of the job, the role itself, so what tasks are involved, the results and objectives of the job, as well as who that employee will be reporting to. This is the person specification form. It goes hand in hand with the job description form, although I wasn't able to find this on the Acas website as I have the others, although as always I have included a link below where you can find it. So as I said, it goes hand in hand with the job description, but this details your requirements of an employee. So certain job roles do require an employee to have a certain level of education or experience, and this is where you include that information, put it with the job description so that those people that are seeking to apply to work for you know whether or not they're eligible to work for you first, and then they can look at whether the job is suited to them personally. This here is an example of the Equality and Diversity Monitoring Form. I have already expressed in a previous slide how important it is for your company not to discriminate against others, and also how important it is for you to provide a safe working environment. This form promotes that in the recruitment process. So it helps you meet any equality policy that you have in place, and it also helps you meet the requirements of the Equality Act 2010. It's going to ask your prospective employees things like what gender they are, how old they are, what ethnicity they are, their sexual orientation and their religion. This allows you to ensure that you are recruiting fairly. It is a very important document. Make sure you have one, and we shall move on. Whilst not essential, it's always a good idea to include a detailed description of what it is your company does, how you started, how long you've been in business for, and how big you are as a company. How many employees do you have? The reason behind this is that it serves to save you time. Some individuals don't want to work in certain industries or for certain businesses, and by doing this, you're going to weed those people out, and the applicants that you receive are going to be good quality applicants who know what it is you do and know that they want to work for you. So just to take a quick break away from paperwork, I'm going to talk to you quickly about the actual advertisement for an employee. So first and foremost, when advertising, the law does not allow for you to refer to any of the 9 protected characteristics that I've outlined on a previous slide. You have to be very careful here, because describing your role as being for a barman or a handyman can be seen as being discriminatory. In the advertisement also, you should include details of what you need from the applicant in the recruitment process. So this could be identification, it could be references, it could even be a health check if that's what your business requires. If you don't check that your prospective employees are legally entitled to work in the UK, you can be fined substantial sums. The current rate for fine is in the link below, and it is subject to change as years go on. Finally, it's important that you use more than one channel when looking to recruit. So that could be advertising through an agency, through a newspaper, online, or even through the job centre. The more places that you advertise, you're avoiding discriminatory behaviour on your part, because you're being open to a lot of people, but also it gives you a better chance and a better reach to find the right employee for you. This here is the job offer letter. It's always a fantastic feeling sending out a little bit of good news to your prospective employee. There's no specific way for you to write this letter, although it is important that you do refer to a few specific things. The first being you should include an accompanying document, which is the written statement of terms and conditions of employment. I'll go into that in the next slide. Next, you should include the job title, the salary or hourly rate of pay for that employee, and their start date, as well as their length of probationary period. You should also include their line manager's name and contact details so that they are able to get hold of them if they need to. So it's actually a legal requirement under the Employment Rights Act 1996 that you as an employer provide any new employee upon their employment the terms and conditions of their employment. This is going to include everything from their names, job title, description, place of work, what hours they're going to work, what they're going to be paid for the work they do, the holiday entitlement, what pensions they may receive, and any other benefits that you have as a company through policy for your employees. Again, as always, I've put a link down below to the Acas site where you can get a template of this document. It is quite long and it's definitely worth a check because it is important that you include this in any job offer letter that you send out. The document should also include information on your absence, sick pay and other leave policies, all of which we actually have separate videos for, including about maternity, paternity, adoption and shared parental leave, available to you through the same site. Training and probationary period is also an important thing to note into this document. It is everything that your employee needs to know before they actually start work is what goes in here, including what their notice period is if they ever wish to terminate their employment with you. Next, we've got collective agreements. Collective agreements are an agreement the employer has with the employee's representatives. So this could be their trade unions. This agreement will allow the terms and conditions like pay or working hours to be negotiated on behalf of the employees by their representatives. You can also, for this section, simply put, there is no collective agreements. Finally, in this section, we've got grievances, disciplinary rules and procedures. You have to outline all of these things in this document when you send the offer to your prospective employee, so they are aware of all the policies in place with your company. That draws an end to this video on employing people. I hope it's been informative and helpful. There is a lot of other materials online for you to access through the Cheshire and Warrington Business Growth Programme to help you grow. As well, we, the Chester Community Law Project, are actively making more videos which are going to help you. So stay tuned and have a good day.